Welcome to the Spark Connect podcast. Today's guest is former NFL linebacker, Denver Broncos defensive captain, leadership speaker, and all-around powerhouse human, Karl Mecklenburg. And wow, this conversation was such a great one. Karl shares lessons from the world of professional football that go far beyond sports. We talk about teamwork, resilience, accountability, courage, and what it really means to rely on the people around you. What struck me most is how grounded and honest Karl is about growth. From reviewing mistakes on game film to learning how to forgive yourself and move forward. His perspective on performance and leadership feels incredibly human and relatable. We also explore the connection between athletics and speaking, preparation and recovery, and the mindset required to keep showing up at a high level over time. This episode is full of wisdom, heart, and practical insight. I think you're going to love Karl's energy and the way he connects elite performance to everyday life. And now, my conversation with Karl Mecklenburg. All right. What a day it is. I am absolutely thrilled to be here with Karl Mecklenburg, and I can't wait to get into this conversation. Karl, welcome to the show. Welcome to the Spark Connect. Would you mind please introducing yourself to our audience today?
I'm Karl Mecklenburg, former Denver Broncos All-Pro linebacker and defensive captain. Played professional football for 12 years. Loved my time with the Broncos, and I ended up playing in 3 Super Bowls and 6 Pro Bowls, and just had a lot of fun.
It's absolutely stunning, and it's so cool to get to talk to you. And what a life! What was the team that you played for? The younger, was it with the Gophers, the Golden Gophers?
I was a Golden Gopher.
I just love that name.
Kassy, I was not your typical NFL guy. I was not a star as a kid. I was just one of the guys. I actually played junior varsity football as a junior in high school. Didn't even make the varsity team.
Okay.
Was a varsity player as a senior, was all-state as a tight end and a defensive end, but I wasn't big enough to play major college football. So I went to Augustana College in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, a little Division II school. I grew 3 inches and 40 pounds my first year of college. All of a sudden, things changed. I was pretty good. I led the team in sacks. I played every down on defense. I was a leader on the defense, and it when I had been recruited, it was really late in the recruiting season. The Gophers had recruited me, but then on the last minute, they decided they didn't have a scholarship for me. So I got mad at them, and I went to Augustana. Augustana gave me a 1/3 scholarship, with the understanding if I played well, they'd give me a full scholarship.
Gotcha.
And like I said, I grew and I was really good. And then they said, well, I'm going in for that debriefing session that they have at the end of every season where you sit down and you talk to the coach, what happened last year and what to expect next year. And I'm thinking, this is it. They're going to give me that full scholarship we talked about in my family's living room. He said, Karl, we know your dad's a doctor. He can afford this school. But we're going to take your scholarship away and use it to bring someone else in.
What?
So I left Augustana and I walked on at the University of Minnesota, which was a good move for me. I got to play against better players. I got to get coached by better coaches. When I got to the University of Minnesota that first year, Mike Shanahan was the offensive coordinator and Tony Dungy was a graduate assistant. I had some great coaching and I learned a lot and ended up getting drafted. Right at the end, I was the 310th pick of the draft, 20 guys away from Mr. Irrelevant, the last guy.
20 guys.
I was not expected to be a great player, but then the coaches found I had some talents and some skills that they moved me around. I got to the Broncos. I was a nose guard. They moved me to defensive tackle, then they moved me to defensive end, then they moved me to inside linebacker, then they moved me to outside. They moved me all around, and I was able to handle the mental side of it, and that allowed me to make a huge difference for our defense.
Oh, and you played a lot of different positions on the defensive line, right?
I did. I played all 7 front positions. As an inside linebacker, you're supposed to know what everybody does and try to get them in position if they're out of position. But there's a difference between knowing what somebody does and being able to do it. So I was able to do it, which was a little
Cool.
different.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And you were saying that when you were did you say high school and college, you played offense and defense?
In high school, I was a tight end and a defensive end both. But I was a tight end in name kind of only. Usually tight ends are receivers. I was just another tackle. I was just blocking. I think I had 2 passes that whole season thrown at me. So yeah, we were a running team and they needed somebody to block.
I love this so much. I mean, on top of being this, what we're listening to and what you're telling us, you're also a keynote speaker today, which is actually how you and I are connected through the National
Right.
Speakers Association. My friend Nora introduced me to you, and I have the honor of having you on the show. But you are also a speaker, and tell us about what you do as a keynote speaker and how you
Well,
got there. Yeah.
yeah. Well, first of all, there's a real connection between professional sports and speaking. I mean, my pattern is so similar. The thing I miss most from football is the adrenaline, the excitement you
Mm.
get when you get up in front of a crowd, whether it's on a football field or whether it's in a speech. That adrenaline's there, and it still is. I've been a professional speaker for 20 years, and I still get that charge every time. So that, and then the other thing is the pattern, the weekly pattern, the daily pattern of preparation, depending on who the group is. You make adjustments to your speech or to your game plan. You perform at a high level for a short period of time. You evaluate what went on. You throw out what didn't go well. You repeat what did go well. I mean, it's
Right.
football.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I just never get hurt, which which helps a lot.
Well, you know what? I had a friend who fell off the stage recently.
No,
I think she actually broke her arm after that happened. Yeah.
well, fortunately, I haven't fallen off any
Don't do that.
stages. Yeah,
I don't think it was her fault too. It was the way it was set up too. And like, well,
no,
organizers are
yeah,
so worried about it. But yeah. So we're not completely free of the danger,
well,
but maybe a
no,
lot less so
yeah,
than
yeah.
football.
You can cramp up on an airplane if you're on there long enough, right?
Yeah. The older I get, the more it happens too. What's up with that? Okay, so my friends are so excited that I'm talking to you today. And as you mentioned, prep and some pregame stuff, I actually have a pregame question. This is funny, and I guess this could play for keynote, or we're kind of more interested though in the football answer. But the question here, as I'm reading it, is what's the most embarrassing song that was absolutely on your pregame playlist?
That's interesting. I did not have a pregame playlist.
Maybe a playlist, right?
Playlist. I did have that. Yeah, we always had a kind of a little service before we're playing on Sundays, and we're on the road a lot of times. It's yeah, so we did have a little chapel service before games, which I was always a part of. Actually, I ran it for 3 or 4 years
Oh,
with the
neat.
Broncos, and but the no, you know what? I loved football. I did not need to get in a different mindset or a different. I would if a game broke out right now, I'd hit you right in the mouth. It's just that's who I am. So I didn't have a problem with that. And I know a lot of people had to get their game face on, I guess is what they called it. No, that just wasn't me. My roommate at one time was a guy named Jim Ryan who had to be in a game face situation, right? And I would bother him sometimes on the sidelines. That I'd go get on the sidelines, and I'd be talking to him about what my kid did at home, or what something totally unrelated, and he's just like, leave me alone. And then I
Focus.
go out and make a big play, and then I come back and say, hey, as I was saying about Jeff.
Born to be. You're just born to play that game, you know?
Yeah, no, yeah. And I approach speaking the same way. Like I said, one of the things that I'm very different about than a lot of celebrity type speakers is that I spend a lot of time with my clients on site. And I want to get there early. I want to learn about I mean, when you're preparing for a speech, you're talking to a meeting professional, basically. And generally, they're not in the industry and whatever group they're speaking to. They're not with that team
Yeah.
day after day after day. They're just there for the meetings. And so I want to learn, and I want to be a part of the event. And so it goes beyond just the on stage time. It really spills over, and I spend more time off stage than I do on stage.
Oh, wow. It's I imagine like there's so much going on when you're playing football where you guys have gotten to know each other so much and there's so many, many things that are happening. You've got the plays and you got the game, but you had to build all the stuff that's going on around that as well. It seems like that would track
Yeah,
while
yeah. I
you carry
mean,
that
yeah.
over.
You spend 6 days getting ready for a game, and then you spend 3 hours
Right.
playing. And those relationships, those adjustments, those yeah, that ability to trust each other. And I've still got friends. I've been retired for 30 years, but I've got some of my best friendships are with guys that I've seen them at their worst and they've seen me at my worst. That's okay, right? We're teammates and we'll always be teammates.
Yeah, because you go through it together,
Certainly.
and there's so
Yeah,
much more.
certainly.
And you prepped 6 days for the 1 3 hour game, but you prepped your whole life moving up to that moment, you
Right.
know, for
Yeah, no,
all of that too. So there's so much in that. It's wonderful.
right. Yeah. The average career in the NFL is a little bit more than 3 years. I played for 12. There's 50 guys on a team. So you do the math, and I right around 200 teammates in those 12 years. I still remember most of their names and their wives' names and who they are.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I mean it's just you do rely on each other, and you can't win a football game by yourself. I'm sorry, it's not possible. You got to rely on each other,
Yeah, yeah. And you think about like keynote speaking, you are up there by yourself, but
right?
you can't carry it by yourself. I mean, you can carry that moment, but you've had to do so much. It's the team effort. It's the audience. It's the team, like all bringing that all together that makes that all work too, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, and I think when I look at what my job really entails and how I approach it, for me, I don't know that I can teach an adult something that they haven't already heard, that they don't already know. I'm
Yeah.
not I'm not cutting edge technology, or I'm talking about teamwork, leadership, courage, basic things. But I'm coming at it from a different angle. And that's my job, is to remind them that they're teammates, to remind them that even if they're not in a leadership position, leadership is an attitude, it's an approach, it's not a title. So for me, that's how I look at my job. I want to entertain, but I want to entertain in a way that makes them understand that, yeah, you know what, this is a team, and it's a great team, and I want to be a part of it.
Yeah. Wait, yeah, I was just gonna ask you, what are those different, like when you come at it a different angle? I think you just explained that a little bit. Are there other elements of the different angle that come out?
Yeah, teamwork, courage, dedication, desire, honesty, and forgiveness is really one that a lot of people come up to me afterwards and said, "Yeah, I've heard all that other stuff, but the honesty and forgiveness thing, that's a little different."
Yeah.
But in the NFL, they film everything. They film every game from two different angles. They film practice. They even film meetings, and you sit in meetings watching film of yourself practicing. Sometimes everything is on film. Everything's evaluated, and you're wrong. I mean, they don't pull any punches. If you grade out 90%, you're an all pro level player. That means 10% of the time you're wrong, and they're pointing out you're wrong right in front of your peers, and you're expected to make adjustments. You're expected to forgive yourself. You're expected to set some reasonable short-term specific goals, make some adjustments during practice that week, and you're not supposed to make that same mistake next week, right? That's
Right.
that's when you get fired.
Right.
You're going to make other mistakes, but don't make that same mistake.
I
So yeah, and so to me, that honesty and forgiveness piece, you can't survive in the NFL without it. And truthfully, if you want to move forward in life, you need to be able to do that. Honesty and forgiveness is huge.
So, I think about a lot of trainers that I work with and facilitators. Feedback is such a sensitive thing, and people get their feelings hurt a lot, and they're expected to perform at these really high levels, be very engaging, know the content really well, keep everything on time, be perfect. Yet when they get the feedback, they're not necessarily good at handling it, and I think if they're not really
Right? You got
trained,
you got 15. Wow, you're wonderful. And one, what are you doing? And that's the one
they
you
hate me.
focus
I
on.
got one that said they hate me. But it's like, I don't know that the corporate world has the mentality built into it. It's like we need that honesty and that, we need to build up that resilience to be able to handle that, because in our age today, we are all being recorded as well. And you can go back and like, well, there's the mistake. We got to work on it. But
Right.
it's interesting that we don't pull more from what is normal part of culture for example, in football. It's normal.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, you can't survive without
It's the
it.
only way to get better. And like, you're right. There's the mistake. Here's what you can do to fix that
Right. If you did everything right, you can't get better.
level.
Right. So the whole idea is be honest with yourself. Say, yeah, this is, and that's where most people run into real blockages in their success and their approach to life in many ways. I mean,
I know.
relationships, if you can't take if you can't figure out what your role is in that relationship that's breaking down, then there's no way you can fix it. You got to be honest and forgiving with yourself and say, you know what, this is what I'm doing. I can fix that. I can't help the other person from that standpoint until I work on me.
Yeah. I think that could be, some of what's happening there is that, like, I think about sports, like there's a physicality to that. So it's like, well, you need to step this way or stand here or move this way. Whereas like when we're getting feedback on, well, that question was bad. You sucked at the way you said that. It seems more personal.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah, yeah. It's
Maybe.
to me anyway. It overlaps. It does. When I see people that just don't get it, they have a hard time moving forward with their lives. They have a hard time in relationships. They have a hard time in community. They have a hard time at work. If you can't accept responsibility and be honest with yourself, then yeah, you don't have any chance to get better.
Amen to that. Where do you think people get it from? Like, how do you become a person who's like, okay, I'm going to be honest with myself?
Well, where do you get it? I think for me anyway, it was just reality. I mean, I was not a great football player as a kid. Like I said earlier, I was just one of the guys, and I was doing everything I possibly could to get better. And whether it was spending enough time in the weight room, or whether it was how I ate, or there's all kinds of different things you can adjust. But you got to realize there's a problem. So the realization was real easy because I was on the field getting beat up. What- what- as I worked on these things and I got better and better and better, it allowed me to say, you know what, that pattern, that ability to look and say what's wrong, set some reasonable short-term specific goals around that issue, work on it in practice, work on it off field, whatever, and then move forward and find out what else is wrong and keep that pattern. That was football,
Yeah.
and it spilled over into my business, and it spilled over into life.
Do you find, coaches play such a big role in the game? How did you do finding coaches for your speaking business, and how do they compare?
Wow, had a little bit of coaching, not a lot, and I was used to speaking. I was interviewed all the time. I was a captain on the team. I was somebody who was out there. So I didn't have a problem with the concept of getting up and saying something and it's out there. That's okay. But I learned so much from just watching other speakers and being a part of National Speakers Association.
I know.
I mean, I want to be Jeannie Robertson when I grow up.
Yeah,
I
right.
mean, her approach, her using humor to keep people engaged, but also having a message behind it, is really kind of the pattern that I've followed. And the other great thing about NSA is that I go now to as many meetings as I possibly can, and I see other speakers, and I learn a lot of things. That's, you know what, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
This isn't congruent with who I am and my business. So I don't have to try it. I'm not interested in teaching on AI. I'm just not. It's not, it won't work for me.
I'm not interested in teaching on it. I finally found like my little way with it because you have to. And my
You
space
got to adjust.
requiring it. But what I've decided to do is just talk about the ways that I'm using it for me that are really fun. And here's what I've discovered about it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be the one who can necessarily teach you exactly all about it. I'm like, look at this cool thing I did with this cool tool.
Yeah.
And that's what's making me happy and bringing, joy to the tech, if you will. But
That's
I
cool.
can't really explain it further than that.
Yeah. I'm just not a tech guy. Like I said, you won't even I've got a 90-second highlight video because I've been retired for 30 years. There's people in the workforce who didn't see me play. So I put that up there.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's just me and a microphone, and
Yeah,
I
I
love
love
it that
that.
way.
Yeah. And, we got to find all the things that work for us, and the ways that work.
Right.
And I think there's, I love that idea that the person who needs to hear the message will. And we just have to get out of our own way thinking that it's supposed to be anything different than who we are.
There you go. The one thing that I have found and was true when I started 20 years ago and is still true is if you're not authentic, if you're not who you are on the stage, you don't have a chance. There's just, anybody who's trying, yes, I want to be Jeannie Robertson when I grow up, but I'm not telling her stories.
No, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
telling
Yeah,
my stories.
that's right.
And yeah, you see big picture stuff that you want to emulate, but beyond that,
Yeah, I know. I try to, if I see something that someone does and I love it, I'm like, oh, I try to analyze, why do I love that? There must be something about me that's drawn to that kind of thing. And there's probably my version of it in some way,
right.
that it can play out for me. Like I saw a speaker once, is an actor, is an actor of the MST 3000 TV show.
Okay.
He's very funny. He was speaking at the Kodak Theater here in Rochester, where I live. And he had a little secret thing. He had this little secret box, the treasure box under his chair. And he kept telling us that all of the answers were in this box of everything. And he kept teasing us the whole time. And in the end, he revealed what it was. And here's the thing. I don't even remember what was in the box. I just remember the bit. It really, I couldn't even focus on anything else because I was so interested in what was in the box. And in my speech, I have a secret. And I have a secret thing that I give the audience and then I tease them throughout. And at the end, we reveal it together because I just love that flow and that bit. And it was very much inspired by him.
Sure. That makes sense. Yeah, no question. And there are, obviously there are techniques and there are ways of approaching things that you need to learn if you're going to be a professional speaker. You got to know what a triple is. There's just stuff you got to know. You gotta right. You gotta tell people what they're gonna get out of this before you start, and then at the end remind them what they got out of it. It's just there's just certain things.
There's little things that just work for people. Yeah, you gotta pick them up, and some people are really good at delivering them, and others, they're still figuring it out, and so we can learn from them. Speaking of learning little things, my husband's a big baseball fan, so we got a lot of sports going on in this house over here too, beyond baseball. But every once in a while when I'm around him, he'll say something to me. And I remember specifically one time he said, somebody stepped in the kitchen or in the bucket. Somebody stepped in the bucket.
Right.
And I was sitting there probably on my phone or whatever. And I go, what did you say? There's no bucket in the game. And this turned into a whole thing where he's describing to me this whole thing in baseball about the bucket. So my question for you is, what's one of these football ones that's kind of like that most people don't know? Do you have something that's along those lines that are like?
Like I said at the start, I started playing football when I was 10 years old. If there's terms that other people don't follow that just make perfect sense to me, I guess that's too bad. I try to be as non-technical as I possibly can, given a speech from a football standpoint, because I understand there's a lot of people who never played or don't care about it one bit, but they can still respect the ability to be the best of the best at whatever you're doing. So
yeah, I don't know why I said kitchen. He and I recently picked up pickleball, so I'm thinking kitchen. But
yeah, no, you step in the bucket. I know what stepping in the bucket.
You know what stepping in the bucket is, and I was like, "What is happening?" It turned into a whole.
I could never hit a curveball, so I was always stepping in the bucket.
That is super funny. And you know what? That led to a whole thing with the curveball too, because I was like curveball, and he's like, "No, curveball," and I'm like, "What?"
Right? No, that's a sinker.
Exactly.
There's a difference.
So what are some of those terms in football? Are there anything like?
Well, yeah, wow, I can't come up with anything right now. A lot of it is around offensive play, I guess. But yeah, you're supposed to drive your legs through tackles, and a lot of times people don't do that. So they'll say, he's not driving his legs, which means you hit the running back or the ball carrier, and your legs just stop. And then you get run over, or at least they get 2 or 3 more yards or whatever. And you're supposed to drive your legs after contact as well as on the way up to contact. So there's one of them.
It makes perfect sense what you're describing as you describe it. But if you just hear the words, he should have just driven his legs.
Right. Get your head across the bow. Get your head across the bow. That's another one. So if you're coming at an angle with a running back, you don't want to hit them behind their body center. You want to put your head across in front of them so you can turn them and keep them from from continuing to head down field.
Yeah.
So you want to get your head across the bow. So there's another example.
Yeah. That's really across the bow.
Head across the bow. Yeah.
Got it. Cool. Very cool. I like knowing these things because then I can pretend when I'm among people. I can be like, oh.
He didn't get his head across the bow. What's that? His legs went dead.
His legs went dead. I love that.
What's he up to?
Oh my gosh. That's so cool. You're finding that you're speaking actively still, right? You haven't retired from speaking.
I have not. And I don't know that anybody retires from speaking. The phone just stops ringing. I mean, I actually had a speech 2 days ago down in Pueblo, Colorado. I spoke for a men's group, which was fun, for a church. And that's always fun for me. I get to share my faith and also entertain, and it was fun.
I love that so much. Is there any sort of pre-game, pre-speech rituals that you do to get yourself going up there? And I know you said before you love it. There's no song, you just love it. And
yeah, same thing in speaking. I mean, yes, I want to, if I possibly can, I want to be there and meet attendees, not just meeting professionals, right? So that piece of it, yeah. I'll come the night before if they have some sort of gathering or whatever the night before. I'll be there and be involved and afterwards too. I don't understand speakers who want to have a green room and not be a part of the conference. What are you going to do? Go home and send out emails for your next client? Because your next client should be in that room. Your next client just saw you speak. If you're a good speaker, they're thinking about hiring you, right? So why would you leave? I don't understand that. Yeah, that's a good 75% of my presentations are directly spin-offs from other presentations. And that's how it should be.
Yeah, and getting to know the people and being able to tailor your message. I know
Right.
that. I mean, I understand though the other side of it for some people, like being mysterious and the hype for all of that. It's not me, I'm not like Lady Gaga or whatever. You know what I mean? I would rather be among the people myself. That's more
so would I. And I again, I don't understand that.
Yeah.
I guess a sense of scarcity or whatever. You gotta pay me more if you want me to hang around with you.
Yeah, that's so funny. Is there anything you could like advice or anything you could give a person who is a speaker now or a trainer that is something that works really well for you? That
Sure.
Yeah,
Kassy. Again, that authenticity piece is huge. If you're not funny, that's okay, but try to use some techniques to get humor involved in your presentation. I have found that when people are reacting properly to my humor attempts, I've got their attention. They're going to pay attention to the next thing.
What advice would you have for me if I'm a new speaker or I'm a trainer, I'm trying to up my skills? What's a piece of advice you would love to share with us today?
Yeah, authenticity is huge. Be yourself. The other piece of it is to me, humor is so valuable. Even if you're not funny, you can work. There are techniques to make things funny. The triple, I talked about that before. You give them a fact, another fact, and then a twist, and it's real simple. It's not a hard thing to do, and people laugh. The other thing is pay attention to what people do laugh at. Like there's one part of my speech. Our training camp used to be in Greeley, right? So somewhere along the line, I just came up with on the off the cuff and said, is there anybody here from Greeley? And somebody raised their hand, and I said, I hate Greeley, and everybody laughed. And I was like, okay, check that off. I'm going to repeat that. And I still do it. And people who have no idea where Greeley is or why I would hate Greeley still just laugh like crazy because I said, I hate Greeley. So, hey, it's a cheap laugh, but it's a good laugh. And people will pay attention to all your other stuff a lot tighter if they're afraid they're going to miss the next laugh.
Yeah.
So humor is find a way to get humor involved in your presentation, even if you have a very serious presentation.
Yeah.
Humor's got to be part.
That was golden. People will pay attention because I don't want to miss out on the next one. That is great. That was so good. I think too, and that's so funny because it's the twist. It's the unexpected twist where you're like, oh, my town, or I know that town. I hate it. That
So
is
I'm
very
sorry.
funny. I could see you getting away with that. Oh my gosh. Well, Karl, thank you so much for spending time with us today. You were just so kind and good and like I can tell how much you love not only what you do, but just you love your life. you know?
Yeah, life is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, life is good. I really do enjoy the business. I enjoy being with people. I enjoy performing. I'm fully convinced that the reason there are so many ex-athletes who get in trouble after they retire is because they're trying to find that adrenaline.
Oh, that
Uh,
makes sense.
And I found it in a very positive way. So I'm happy about that.
That is great. That makes a lot of sense too. Yeah. The attention, the adrenaline. Yeah. Gosh. Well, where can we find out what you're up to next and how can we follow along?
Well, yeah, you can follow me. I'm Karl Mecklenburg on all at Karl Mecklenburg. Again, you can spell it a couple of ways and still get there.
And it's Karl with a K, which is like,
Karl with a
Kassy
K,
with a K.
Mecklenburg is Burg, but again, misspell it if you like. It'll pop up. So I appreciate this opportunity. Appreciate what you're doing, Kassy. That I've been on a whole bunch of podcasts through the years, but I've never been on one that's set up for athletes that are now speaking. That's as tight a niche as you can find. But we're out there. Yeah,
It's
for
great.
sure.
Yeah. It's interesting to me. I learned so much from driven, talented people.
Things that I've got my CSP from the National Speakers Association, and the reason I went through that, and it's a tough thing to get.
It's hard to get.
It's like taxes times 10. It's a lot of bookkeeping and stuff. But there are a lot of athletes out there who will take a job as a speaker, but then don't approach it in the same way as they approached their sport. They don't. It's like found money. It's like, I just got to show up here and you know talk about myself and not have it apply to the audience at all. It amazes me that they haven't taken that same drive that allowed them to be successful in their sport and put it into the speaking
Yeah.
piece. How you get better, and you know that if you've gotten better and as an athlete, find a way to apply that same heart, that same love, that same drive into your speaking business, and then you'll be successful. If you don't, then people like me hear from meeting planners, oh, I hired an athlete a couple of years ago and I'm never going to do that again, and that's really frustrating. And I'm sure it's frustrating for you because then you're not getting the jobs again too.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It's a big missed opportunity because people are looking for that level of performance. I really think that when I coach a lot of trainers to be trainers and I teach them how to do the job. That's what I came up doing. And I feel like there is this like sort of expectation in the world that people are going to perform in the way that athletes and actors perform.
Yeah,
And it's like, do you realize what athletes and actors do? They didn't read the manual last night and try to present today.
right. Yeah, no
It's
question.
really it's a missed opportunity for them. But yeah. Well, gosh, thank you so much for your time today, Karl. It has been absolutely wonderful to have you on the Spark Connect.
Thanks, Kassy.
That's your spark. Now go light something up. And hey, if this episode lit you up, share it with a friend, a fellow facilitator, or someone who needs a little more connection in their day. Be sure to follow the Spark Connect so you don't miss what's next. We've got more brilliant voices, bold ideas, and heart-forward conversations coming your way. Until then, stay curious, stay brave, and keep showing up.